Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Twitch supplementary guide on an AP build of Twitch. The build is right up in the screen right now in the big version, and we're going to put it at the corner in the small version while I walk you through the build and the gameplay goes on at the same time. Now why is this the case? Because as you guys can see, this is going to be a 30-minute gameplay. It's a very long one, and you can get into the real late game and kind of see the power of Twitch in the late game. And so we're going to actually do the build discussion while the gameplay is running, because not too much happens in the early game. I say that, but the enemy team is kind of killing my jungler at the moment, so first blood happens within the first 20 seconds, but it's not really involving me, so yeah. So let's take a look at the build, right? So focus your attention onto the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You guys can see that this is the first like 3 items are basically the AP Varus build, and then we're going to talk about the later part of the build. So first off, we're going for the swiftness boots. Is it called? No, it's got the Berserker's Greaves. We're going for the Berserker's Greaves for that additional attack speed, and also because it gives you less AD than Glunner's Greaves. Now why is this important? Because we're going to go into the nerfed, unfortunately, Nash's Tooth as our first item, which of course gives you attack speed, ability haste, as well as the on-hit magic damage, which comes in very handy. Now at this point, the moment you complete Nash's Tooth is going to be an AD item because of the Berserker's Greaves. However, the trick you can do is you can buy one Amp Tome, and that one Amp Tome is actually going to convert it into an AP item, because the one Amp Tome's 25 AP is more than like the 20 AD you get from Berserker's Greaves, as we're able to kill the Corki in lane. So at this point, you're already going to be an AP champion at the first item. So with that, you're going to go into Runance next. Now, of course, as we all know, Runance is an amazing Twitch item. Allows you to attack 3 people simultaneously and spread the poison among 3 people. So pretty obvious one. You can also just proc the on-hit onto 3 people, on-hit of Nash's Tooth and subsequent items. So that's very handy. And then third item, we're going to go for the Riftmaker. Now Riftmaker is of course going to give you the Omnivamp as well as the true damage. After you kind of wait 3 seconds, you're going to get the true damage from Riftmaker as well. So that's just going to increase your damage output by a lot, give you that healing that you need, and just give you some very nice AP stats as well. You know, ability haste, AP health, 150 health, etc. Right, now the last 2 items is where things get interesting. So we do know that Liandry's did get that buff where basically it did a lot more damage. So I think Liandry's is an insanely good item on AP Twitch that is really slept on by a lot of people, because with the Liandry's, you're actually able to apply it with your passive. So basically Twitch's passive, of course as we know, is a damage over time, so it's gonna kind of do a couple of seconds of damage to the enemy champion. And same like how Liandry's is insane on Teemo and Lilia, because of that, it's the same story with Twitch, right? So because it applies ticks of poison, it's gonna constantly reapply Liandry, so it's gonna last 3 seconds after your poison falls off, and that's going to do a lot of additional damage that a lot of enemies don't expect. Now fortunately in the game, we actually reach all the way to Liandry's, and we can actually see how much insane damage Liandry's actually does. And last item, I actually have Infinity Orb as the last item here, and the reason why I go for Infinity Orb as the last item is because it's not as important as any of the other 4 items. It's really just the cherry on the cake, where now if enemies are low, the Liandry's burn and your poison burn is now actually going to burn them with crit, right? And with the AP build, in case you guys didn't know, the passive poison scales off of AP a lot better than AD, so your poison damage is actually going to do a lot of damage. So just the fact that you're building AP combined with the fact that you have Liandry's combined with, of course, the Infinity Orb, the enemies are just gonna burn to death when like they are like relatively low. You guys will see that later on in the gameplay. Even Nautilus just burns to death, right? So you guys will see that a little bit later on towards the end of this very kind of long gameplay. But yeah, so now that we've kind of covered the items, I'm gonna just talk about some couple of alternative items that you can go for. As well, and of course, just to mention it, runes standard loadout, and spells flash and ghost if you can. If you need cleanse, then go for cleanse. Like in this game, you know, you have Morgana with her root, you have Nautilus with all his CC, so cleanse very essential. Can't afford to go for ghost on this one, so you have to kind of go for cleanse in this particular situation. So as the action continues happening, I'm just going to talk about your alternative item options. So I think the first 3 items are core. You definitely want to have Nashor's, Runance, and Riftmaker, but the last 2 items are a little bit more flexible to a certain extent, right? Now I still think that Liandry's is the next best item, and I still think Infinity Orb is just an amazing item as well, just comboing with the Liandry's. However, An alternative item that you could go for is two alternative items you could go for is you could go for number one, Death Cap, if you just want more raw damage instead of speccing into that Liandry's burn. You could just go for Death Cap. And the other item option you can go for and should go for if the situation calls for it is to go for Ocean's Trident. Now that of course is the anti-shield, the AP anti-shield item. And if the enemy team has a lot of shielding, then you can actually go for that as a fourth item just to ensure that the enemy team gets the shielding cut. Now in this particular game I didn't go for it because really the only real significant shielding there is Nautilus, who has gargoyles and his W. Now Morgana's shield's not too important. Aatrox doesn't actually go for gargoyles, so there isn't really that much shielding on the enemy team. So in that case, I'm just going for my favorite combo of Liandry's into Infinity Orb. So now that we've spent about 5 plus 6 minutes at this point talking about his build, now let's actually talk a little bit about the gameplay and take stock of what's happened so far. So we've gotten 2 assists so far. Of course, one of them was the solo kill onto the Emilio. The other one, I'm honestly not sure where that came from, but yeah, it's a very action-packed game because you can see Fizz has ganked us a number of times. I think Morgana has ganked us as well. So a lot of action happening in the bottom lane here, and definitely very action-packed, and it's a very long game, as you guys can see, so there's a lot of action still to come. So the main reason why I chose to go for this AP build is because, as you guys can see, my team has completely no AP, right? We have Mundo, Lee Sin, as well as Zed. All of them are AD champions, and of course Milio is our support, who doesn't really do any significant AP damage, so perfect time to pull out the AP Twitch build. And I actually think there was a time I thought AP Twitch kind of was trash, but after I playtested it in like the previous patch, like 6.1 something, I made a video on it on YouTube, and I actually thought it was pretty good. And now with Liandry's getting buffed, it's probably even better, right? So I definitely decided to try out this build again in this match. And this is like it's not the only match I played the AP Twitch build. I did play a number of matches of AP Twitch, but this is definitely the match that really showcases why AP Twitch can be such a monster in the mid and late game. And yeah, so of course though, Twitch is still kind of horrible in the early stages of the game, which is like now basically, so I'm still just generally playing safe and trying not to die, of course, looking for opportunities to fight, such as this. However, Twitch is, sorry, not Twitch, Fizz is now coming in, and Miller is kind of caught out of position, has to flash to safety. Morgana is now here, so what initially started off as a 4v2 became a 4v3 and now a 4v4. So here I'm just popping the flash shooters to get to safety. I pop my ult to try to just blast people. I believe I'll get Morgana on the poison there, and I do get the kill on Morgana. Nautilus takes a lot of damage. Zed is going to be able to get him. Now it's Twitch and Corki trying to kill me. Corki goes in with the Gale Force under the tower. I'm really low, but I'm able to survive so far. Fizz goes in on me under tower with the Quadra and thankfully dies to the tower, and I pick up the 700 gold shutdown. So I think that's worth, in my opinion. Like, dying for a 700 gold shutdown is worth. Not that I really had a choice not to die there, because Twitch, not Twitch, Fizz just decided to full on commit to diving me under the tower, so not a lot I could really done there to survive. I didn't have flash anymore, so yeah, I do take a death there, but I think that was a pretty solid death. And as I mentioned, you do want to go for the Amp Tome here to convert into an AP build, and I then pick up another recurve bow, of course going to build into Runans. Mundo clears the bot lane. He's getting cut off by Nautilus now as he tries to go to mid lane. I'm just happy to clear the mid lane wave. Nautilus and Corki are... Mundo, by the way, transports Nautilus out onto all of us. And here I'm just blasting Nautilus. I don't want to pop the ult against Nautilus, of all people, but a couple of other champions are not here. So I'm going to actually pop the ult to just try to start blasting people. But Aatrox, I'm starting to realize there's a problem. He's just basically running me down. He is 2-0 now, 3-0. And he is basically a little bit of a problem for me. Right, I'm just getting run down by him, and I'm like, uh-oh, that ain't good. Here, Mundo is going to die under tower, getting caught by the Fizz ult. Lee Sin gets caught by Nautilus, dies as well, and basically everybody's dying here. Zed surely can't be thinking of going in onto like 5 people, right? Nautilus pretty low though, so he might get baited. He has a Gale Force for some reason, gets exhausted. Black Shield goes onto the Nautilus. He's able to escape, and Milio now respawns together with myself. Enemy team all just runs away, so not much I can actually do here. But Emilio is a pretty good support for Twitch. Now, of course, Twitch benefits a lot from enchanters. Like, he loves to have like a Lulu, a Yumi, Emilio, all these classic, like Soraka, like all these classic enchanter supports, Janna, you know, etc. Right? I mean, he can work with tanks like Leona and Nautilus, etc. But it's just not as good in my opinion, because with enchanters, they can kind of help him get across the early game and then buff him up a lot in the mid and late game just to help him carry. Of course, you could argue that with tanks, they can frontline for him, and they can also apparently, not apparently, but they can also perhaps get catches onto the enemies in the early game and maybe get him fed early. But at the end of the day, I think him getting fed early is not as important as him just surviving. So I think, you know, just getting an enchanter, or having an enchanter, I should say, not getting, because you can't really necessarily get a support that you want. But having an enchanter is going to be a lot more beneficial, in my opinion. Now here I'm getting the gold to get the Runans. My team is getting into a kind of a fight in the top lane. Corki, in the meanwhile, is just split pushing. So I pick up the Runans here. I'm trying to make my way over. I was going to make my way over to top, but since Corki is just split pushing, I'm going to actually have to defend this. Nautilus is now walking into my jungle as well. Dragon is also now up, so there could be a fight at Dragon. Now, ping is coming from my team to do Baron. I actually think that's a pretty decent idea. But Lee Sin is not interested. Of course, he is our jungler. Lee Sin goes in, gets the steal onto the dragon since the enemy jungler isn't there. That's because the enemy jungler is doing the Baron. And Zed is going in on them. Unfortunately, the enemy team is going to pick up the Baron. Morgana kind of stuck in the pit. Flashes out to safety. And now I'm going to have to reposition because Nautilus and Corki are now coming in from the other side, as is Aatrox. So here I'm popping the ult just for the extra range. I'm trying to blast people, but I only get off 2 auto attacks before I'm going to have to reposition again, so a little bit of a waste of the ult. Unfortunately, Nautilus coming in. I'm going into stealth. Now I'm just trying to stand behind my team and just trying to blast basically whoever I can. Nautilus, of course, is very, very close to me at this point, but he doesn't have spells. Morgana goes down. Corki just dashes on top of my head, pops the barrier, and unfortunately, I'm going to go down. Milio, unfortunately, not able to save himself. And also not really able to buff me that much in that fight, unfortunately. Corki probably going to die to Lee Sin, but Lee Sin will die to Aatrox. Because basically by the time I arrived, the Milio W ran out, and it's only after I died that the Milio W came back up again. So Milio wasn't able to give me the heals and buffs and the extra range. So I think that made quite a big difference not having that in the fight. And here Aatrox is now knocking on our tier 2 and is able to pick that one up. And now at this point, I'm 2, 3, and 6. Not the best KDA in the world, but I do still have the most gold on my team with 9k gold. But there's 3 people on the enemy team with over 10k gold. So you can see my team is collectively losing by about 7k. And it's quite a big deficit at the moment. But you'll see how the game in the mid game kind of turns around off of you know, some very, very interesting team fights. So here I'm going to head to mid lane to clear the wave. And maybe top lane afterwards to clear that wave as well, since no one is actually going there. Aatrox spotted with my ward. He pops the W onto me, but I'm able to sidestep it to one side. And a fight is now breaking out in the red buff area because Nautilus is roaming inside our jungle. My team is dogpiling on him. And this is going to lead to an entire fight just breaking out. Lee Sin flashing into danger. Away from safety is a better way to put it. Now here Aatrox is going in. I'm just blasting him. Anti-heal has been applied to him by the Milio, so I'm just blasting him, popping the ulti. He's running, trying to run me down, but I'm able to escape. Go back in with the stealth. I pop the ulti. I'm blasting Nautilus. I'm blasting everybody. I flash away. I'm looking to kill everybody here. Now I was thinking honestly if I could survive for like 2 more seconds, I would have just killed all of them, right? And my E was coming off of cooldown. That would have burst them down, and I was thinking that, wow, I think I could kill all of them here, but unfortunately, Milio is not able to keep me alive. I'm not able to keep myself alive, and I end up just going down, which is just really, really unfortunate. However, with that, I've actually hit my 3-item power spike with the Riftmaker in now fully completed. So, of course, I would say that with this build, your big item power spikes are on 3, 4, and 5 items, right? Honestly, Nash's Tooth is not a huge power spike. Runa's Hurricane is a decent spike because of how you can attack 3 people simultaneously, but not a very, very huge spike in terms of raw damage. But Riftmaker is where the first huge spike comes in, and then every subsequent item is going to be another very nice big spike. So here, of course, with the Riftmaker completed, we are now online. And we're now ready to rock and roll, ready to look for some kills. First target, Nautilus here, who is a little bit overextended. We do a lot of damage to him. I honestly did not notice that Fizzle on the ground, which allowed me to get hit by it. Now here, Corki out of position. I'm popping the ulti, just blasting the Corki. He gets out of my range, so I pop the E to get the kill on him. Fizz, for some reason, pops the stasis there. I'm not sure why he popped the stasis there, because he could have just killed me. And now I'm trying to keep my distance and go for the Aatrox. However, unfortunately, Aatrox is able to run me down, get a reset onto his ulti, and now he's going to run down Mundo. Now, Mundo here is really, really tanky. Pops his Gargoyles, pops his ultimate, and is actually able to survive. Now, honestly, I think if Mundo just died quickly there, the enemy team might have been able to end the game with where their wave is. But thankfully, Mundo survives and wastes a ton of their time, which means that the enemy team not only can end the game, but they're now actually in a bit of an awkward position because they now kind of have to reset. And the dragon is up. I think they're doing the dragon, but it makes it a little bit dangerous for them. I believe Fizz is soloing the dragon at the moment. In the meanwhile, Lee Sin is finding a catch onto Morgana. And doesn't get Morgana, unfortunately. Gets baited in by the low HP Morgana and instead dies to Corki, which is not surprising to me whatsoever. Like, why are you so deep in the enemy jungle? So here, enemy team is starting off Baron. To no one's surprise, he just got a pick on the jungler. Unfortunately, I'm not going to really run in there face first. Mundo is now walking toward Baron, so now I'm actually going to walk behind him and see if we can get anything done. We still have ult and flash. Unfortunately, we're getting cut off by Aatrox. So a little bit of a problem here. Now, Mundo is now frontlining for us. We're just blasting Aatrox, blasting everybody at this point. Aatrox is on top of me, so I'm going to flash away. Aatrox goes down, giving us the reset. We get the double. And here, again, in a similar situation as just now, it's the same three people. I'm trying to blast all of them. Unfortunately, we cannot survive long enough to kill them. So, yeah, unfortunately, the situation is kind of very similar to what we had just now, where essentially we had the damage to kill them, but we just have no front line to tank for us. Slash not enough tankiness and health to really get through them, so just a little bit unfortunate with that. Now, one of the other perks of this build that I didn't really mention is that Riftmaker and Liandry's both give a little bit of health. So I think Riftmaker gives 150, I think Liandry's give 250. So that collectively gives you like 400 extra HP. 400 extra HP on an ADC is a lot, right? Like, that's like a Black Cleaver's worth of health. And the reason why I say that is because ADCs typically, when you build crit, get 0 extra health, right? So the AP built indirectly kind of makes you tankier as well. Because 400 extra HP, as I just mentioned, is actually a lot of extra health for an ADC. So you actually get a side perk of just being more tanky in general, just from the building the AP build. So here we have completed our Liandry's, and we've also gotten a stasis just for the extra safety against, honestly, like Twitch ult, Nautilus engages, and even Aatrox is running us down, right? And here, unfortunately, I can't defend this tier 2 tower, but we are getting a lot of gold from these minions. Now, I see Fizz roaming down, so I'm going to actually have to back off, because I don't want to get caught by him. I wanted to go back when I saw him again, but Aatrox is now there. So now, enemy team with the Baron buff, trying their best to push in. Now, I'm just waiting for an opportunity where basically my team is frontlining for me, and the enemy team are kind of grouped up, so I can blast them into next week. But this opportunity has not yet arisen, and yeah, we're just waiting for that chance. In the meantime, I'm just trying to stay as safe as I can and see if I can just get off any little bit of poke damage with those few auto attacks, like here. But I don't want to get caught out. Milio gets hit by a Fizz ulti, and again, the opportunity has not yet come, so I'm trying to wait for a chance to blast them. But Mundo already died, so that's my main front line dead. So I'm thinking this is a very worrying situation. Now I'm trying to get this last in hit, and I don't think I can defend it whatever it is. So here I'm just free stacking my lethal sample onto Nautilus. Nautilus is taking a lot of damage. Now here is the opportunity, not really the best opportunity, but I'm able to pop the E and get rid of the Nautilus. I get a reset. Now Zed's going in for the fight, so I'm thinking we have really no choice but to fight here. So I'm just blasting the Aatrox, but now I'm in a very awkward spot of kind of being behind the Aatrox. So I'm going to actually stealth in and reposition so that I'm on the correct side. Aatrox still has anti-heal applied to him by Milio, and here I'm just trying to blast. I still have my ulti because I have not yet committed, and here I spot Corki. Corki's overextended, so I'm going to pop the ulti, start blasting the Corki who's way overextended, pop the E, the Andrews will finish him, and then end Aatrox as well. So happened kind of off screen, but you can kind of see how Leandri's works now. Fizz goes in with the Elder buff. I have to pop the stasis to survive. He Qs onto the Mundo instead of me, and this gives me an opportunity to stealth back in. He's trying to close the gap, and I'm able to kill him, but his passive is killing me. I have to flash onto my base to prevent myself from dying. And yeah, that's just his passive combined with Infinity Orb, which is really what I'm going for here as well. I have my passive plus Leandri's plus Infinity Orb, which is all gonna crit when the enemies are low. And here I'm just pushing out this wave. I don't need gold anymore because I'm full build, but of course I can't just let the wave kind of kill my base. And here you can see full build. There's a Nautilus, there's a Morgana. I'm just gonna stealth in. And Morgana's just going to die real easily because she's a squishy target. Now I'm ulting to kill Nautilus. I cleanse a little bit too early, but here you can see Nautilus is in trouble. You can just see, like, yeah, just look at that. Morgana just burns to death. Like, you can kind of see how it works, right? Like, you don't have to... Nautilus burns to death as well. You don't necessarily have to finish them off, but if you get them low enough, there's really no way they survive, right? The double burn is just going to kill them. The double burn plus the crit on the burn is just going to kill them. They're just going to melt when they're low. And that's kind of the whole game plan of AP Twitch when you reach like full build, right? You don't have to fully commit to the kill. Like, you can just get them low, and the DOT will kind of take care of the rest of it. Now here I'm looking for a pick onto Corki. Of course it's 2v1, so this should be a pretty free kill onto Corki. It was not a free kill onto Corki. Insane Veil comes in from the melee, allowing me to survive. And Fizz now over the wall. I'm still in very easy one-shot range. Lee Sin comes in with a kick to remove Fizz from the equation, and now we have 4 people dead on the enemy team, only Aatrox alive. Nautilus and Morgana just now respawning. So now it's prime time to quickly get Baron before the enemy team is able to contest it. Now, of course, Aatrox is able to contest it, but he goes in now 1v5. Does delay a lot of time, but we get the Baron. Now here you can see I'm popping the ulti to blast over the wall because I know I can kill like one or both of them. Now here Nautilus is really low. I'm just leaving him to die to the poison or my team. And the poison actually picks up the last hit on him, giving me the kill. Which at this point, as I said, I'm not too like greedy or hungry for kills anymore because I'm full build. Like, kills are just nice for the KDA, but the goal is not very helpful. So here everybody but Corki is dead. Fizz is about to respawn. We can probably get an inhib here, but it's a little bit risky to try to end the game. So my team all just collectively decides to back off. Right, in the meantime, we're gonna raid the enemy jungle of all their resources. Fizz now on the way in. We gotta be a little bit careful. We do have our stasis, so we should be fine against Fizz. Now, personally, we don't really need to reset because we're full health, full mana, and full build, right? So there's no real reason for me to reset, except that if my whole team is resetting, I probably don't want to be on the map myself, and I'm gonna get caught out. So Milo is looking to reset. Lee Sin getting caught for no reason. Lee Sin's not resetting. Milo is resetting, so I'm just gonna reset as well. Right? There's no reason to stay on the map and overextend when I might get caught. So here I'm just going to complete my recall. And Milio sells support item to get a Catalyst of the Aeons, which I don't think is really the play here. You only really want to sell support item when you have an entire item that you can actually get. So that's not really the play. Anyways, here Elo Dragon is now going to spawn in like 30 seconds, so that's probably going to be the next like real big fight. And yeah, so basically at this point we're now really fed, right? We've changed our attack speed boots to defensive boots, magic resist boots, and here we're gonna have to cleanse out. Unfortunately, we get caught again. We're gonna have to pop the stasis. In the meanwhile, while all this is happening, the burn is doing a lot of work, by the way. Like, that burn is like just doing a lot of DPS while we're stuck in stasis and you know, etc. Unfortunately, we go down. I'm thinking, oh my god, the game is lost, right? But Mundo becomes the raid boss he was always meant to be. Is killing both Fizz and Corki. Slows down the Fizz. Is going for him. Fizz has to queue through the minions to get to the fruit. Morgana now decides to go melee range with him. And Morgana, unfortunately for her, has gone for a really strange build. Now Corki, I'm not sure why he's trying to kill Mundo, because you just saw the damage Mundo does. Like, why is he doing that? Unfortunately, Mundo misses the cleaver, just flashes auto attacks and kills him. Fizz is... I'm not sure what Fizz is trying to do. He's trying to kill the minions, but he's like 1 HP. Morgana's trying to do the Elder by herself, but Mundo is trying to run her down now. Fizz is now coming to help Morgana supposedly. Morgana pops the stasis. Mundo is not picking up his canister. Fizz is now still 1 HP trying to run away. Mundo is just running everybody down, finally like reaching its final form, I guess. And this just buys us time to just do the Elder Dragon whilst enemy team is all distracted with Mundo. Mundo is still like basically almost full HP at this point. Aatrox is trying to come in to stop us from doing the Elder, but to no avail. Now unfortunately, I look at top lane. Top lane is just like dying to minions and no one is defending it. Like, we didn't even need Zed. I was trying to ping Zed to defend the wave if you guys saw when we respawned, but he was having none of it. Like, I can't be the one defending the wave because I need to DPS the Elder, right? I'm the main DPS of the team. But yeah, we lose the inhib again for no reason. Unfortunately, it's a really hard game. And now we're going to go toward the Baron. And Mundo is doing his job once again of just zoning the enemy team off, right? Here there's enemy ward inside, we're gonna get rid of that. And in theory, it should be a pretty free Baron into Elder. Now here I get hit by the Fizz ult. Unfortunately, I did not see the Veil. Enemy Morgana steals the Baron, which is really, really bad. Now at this point, I'm just gonna pop the ulti and just start blasting people with the Elder buff and see who I can kill, basically. Not going to... I mean, I don't even have flash, but I can't go over the wall there. Now, here I'm thinking, okay, the best chance we have is with the Elder buff. We try to just run it down mid and end the game at this point, because with the Baron, it's really, really difficult to play. So here I'm thinking we have Mundo, we have Milio, we have frontline, we have support, right? We might be able to do something here now. Here, Nautilus tries to go in. We're just trying to get the poison down onto as many people as we can so Leandris can do his job. And the wave is going in, so I'm thinking here we might be able to end the game. I'm trying to force the game end by just blasting, but unfortunately now Corki's in my face. So I have no choice but to turn onto the Corki. Corki kills me. And unfortunately, Milio, I believe, dies too. And Mundo also dies. So now the situation is getting kind of dire. Because now it's just the Sin and Zed defending. But I think that this is pretty defendable, right? You just need to clear this wave. Make sure the mid wave doesn't crash into the Nexus so that the enemy team cannot end the game. And then wait for the rest of us to respawn. Like, we just gotta buy a little bit of time. And it should be defendable, right? Lee Sin also has GA. And unfortunately, they don't do their job whatsoever. The entire wave just crashes in. Corki is just DPSing the base at this point, and we just lost the game. So unfortunately, this game is an L, but it does demonstrate how OP Twitch is and how late game, like you know, AP build, like how it's really, really strong. Right? You can see we did the most damage by a mile, right? In the stats. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.